Back to Green Hill Gaming, where I share my passion of the whole wide world. In this live stream, I will be reading Baker Incident Report from Resident Evil Village. So sit back, grab your Jill sandwich. I know that joke is getting as old as me now at this stage. But as always, and more importantly, enjoy the live stream. And hello to my first and lovely viewer. How are you doing? Welcome to Green Hill Gaming, and I hope you enjoy the live stream where I will be reading the Baker Incident Report. Damien, buddy, great to have you in the live stream, man. How are you getting on, buddy? And enjoy the live stream. Now, this report is very interesting. I read it earlier today. No. Not only is this report an interesting read, but there is something in this report that I came across when I was reading it earlier today. And I swear to sweet Jeebus himself, I nearly came off the chair with just pure excitement. What am I talking about? Well, you're just going to have to wait to find out as I read the Baker Incident Report. So, Damien and my other lovely viewer, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. This different type of Resident Evil Village live stream. Don't worry, tomorrow night I will return to some Resident Evil Village gameplay. But tonight I'll be reading this very interesting report. So great to have you in the live stream, and hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoy. And as always, comment away in the live chat. As always, don't worry about distracting me or anything like that. I still have the computer voice turned off, but you can still chat away in the live chat below. So interact as always. I don't mind. Interact as always. So just give me a second. I'm just going to share the live stream onto Facebook. It's just so more and more people can enjoy themselves with a bit of Green Hill Gaming. Okay, the live stream has now been shared. Okay, it is time to read the Baker Incident Report. There's 80 pages, so get comfortable. Okay. This report depicts my investigation into the events after the incident at the Baker's residence. The Baker incident, July 2017. A number of people lost their lives at the residence in the middle of the American countryside. It was a truly horrifying tragedy. I still don't know the exact number of victims. Two survivors, husband and wife, Ethan and Mia Winters, were able to shed some light on the events which would have shook the world. But there was a cover-up, and the winter is a tongue twister for someone like me, trust me, vanished. There is someone or something powerful acting behind the scenes. I just know it. I decided to investigate, to follow the breadcrumbs of what happened after. How can I be so sure? Because I'm someone who was there. First of all, how was this incident reported upon its discovery by the world? Let's take a look at some newspaper clippings from the time to see how the news was manipulated. 1. Discovery of the incident. Local newspaper, the Dalby Daily, July 22nd, 2017. Family of 4 found dead in Dalby. Dalby County Sheriff Office have reported that the Baker family were found dead in their home in North Dalby on the 21st of July. The surrounding details are currently unknown, apart from the deaths of Jack Baker, his wife Margaret, their son Lucas, and daughter Zoe. Deputy Sheriff Dave Anderson has also been missing since the 19th, according to Deputy Sheriff Riley Whiteford, who visited the Baker's residence around the time of his disappearance. Social media posts, July 22nd, 2017. That thing with the dead family, wasn't that where the giant black monster was? You think they were eaten by that thing? No way. It's not some cheesy horror movie. Old man Jack did say some crazy stuff. I remember him getting into a lot of fights. He probably killed his whole family and offed himself. Transcript of a complaint to the county sheriff's office. I don't believe it. It's been 2 days already, but you haven't reported anything else. Was it a murder? An accident? Suicide? I must put the National Guard sealing the place off. What are you all hiding? Very little was reported shortly after the Baker incident was discovered, leading to rapid spread of rumours and speculation. The Bakers were completely isolated from the rest of the community, and sealing off the entire area around their home set things into motion. I recall there sure was a lot of public pressure on the press for information. I admit that at the time I was being held in quarantine by a certain organisation and couldn't see any of the news for myself. They finally allowed me to watch TV a few days after, and I was flabbergasted by the stark difference between the report and reality. 2. The cover-up. Local newspaper, the Dalby Daily, July 30th, 2017. Sheriff's Office said Baker family killed by natural gas. In a follow-up to the deaths of the Baker family on July 21st, the Dalby County Sheriff's Office stated, it is highly likely that their deaths were caused by a hydrogen sulfurate acid leak. The local area is surrounded by wetlands, which combined with a concentration of pollution could have led to the buildup of toxic gas that claimed the lives of the Baker family. The leak has been blocked. However, the authorities have sealed off the area in order to prevent any further actions. The victims, I can just check, I was going to get an audio check there. My microphone just gave a weird noise all of a sudden. There's my lovely voice in the background. Got a mini heart attack there. Thought my audio wasn't coming out. The victims included were deceased Jack Baker, Margaret Baker, Lucas Baker, Zoe Baker, Dave Anderson, Clancy Jarvis, Andre Stickland. I never knew his name. Stickland. What kind of name is Stickland? Thank you, Damien. Much appreciated, man. Nice one. Nice one, man. Good stuff. Legend. What? Imagine having a name called Andre Stickland. Jesus Christ. Peter Walken, injured. Ethan Winters and Mia Winters. Social media posts, July 30th, 2017. toxic hydrogen sulfide acid. So I keep saying sulfide acid gas. They're kidding, right? I heard there were soldiers, tanks, helicopters, the whole shebang when it happened. The government's up to something for sure. And here come the conspiracy theorists. A bunch of nutjobs like you came out of the woodwork during the Raccoon City incident too. But there was that black monster and that satellite photo of the shipwreck. You have to admit something's fishy. Magazine Inspector. An interview with Sally Baldwin, Professor of Geological Sciences at Minden University. Interviewer. So you don't agree with the report from the Sheriff's Office that it was a natural gas leak? Baldwin. We can't rule it out completely, but it's very unusual, all things considered. Hydrogen sulfide builds in areas where there is a lot of volcanic activity. The town of Dulvey, however, has no volcanic activity anywhere in the area. My own geological survey in '98 revealed absolutely no hydrogen sulfide in the area. I love this report. I really do. I read it earlier today and it's really interesting. But again, as I pointed out earlier, there was something in this report that just filled me with a high level of excitement. Believe me, that is coming up soon. You don't want to miss that. A tragic natural gas leak. That was the official stance on the Baker incident. But that is a complete fabrication. Nothing about the murders in the house. Nothing about the terrifying monsters that stalked the halls and lived within its walls. It's evident that someone was keeping the truth hidden. The thing that surprised me the most was the fact that my name was on the list of victims. Anyone who's played Resident Evil 7, like I have, has probably figured out who this person is by now. But I say nothing. The organisation still had me in quarantine. I was terrified the whole thing would come to an end. It would come to an end with me actually being among the deceased. Thankfully, it was a needless fear. The organisation gave me a new identity and let me go. I guess they figured I was harmless and didn't know anything else. I was allowed to live as a new person, apparently for my own safety. I tried to contact the other two survivors, Ethan and Mia. They saved my life after all. I wanted to at least thank them. But they'd completely disappeared. I know the organisation knows where they are, so I decided to investigate the BSAA. BSAA, Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. It's a tongue twister. A counter-bioterrorism organisation sanctioned by the United Nations. It was formed to combat the rise of bioterrorism after the collapse of Umbrella Pharmaceuticals. They had combated terrorism across the world, including China and Europe, and are highly regarded as bioterrorist police. The BSAA finally intervened in the Baker incident, and were the ones that saved Ethan, Mia, and I. Thanks to my detainment and gone blind in the facility, I have a pretty good idea of who their members are. I was very, very persuasive when it came to asking them about the organisation and top secret documents. The topic I was most interested in was, of course, the Baker incident. I wanted to know the truth the BSAA were hiding. 3. The hidden truth. Magazine Inspector. Secret meeting between the sheriff and international organisation. One of the reporters has unearthed evidence that a secret meeting happened between Dulvey Sheriff Coleridge, and an international organization known as the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, BSAA. Many have voiced their concerns around the legitimacy of the Sheriff's Office statement that the incident at the Baker estate was caused by a toxic gas leak. Inspector suspects there might be more to the story, and the Sheriff's Office and the BSAA are covering something up. We reached out to the Sheriff's Office, but they refused to give a statement. Edgar McClintock. Man, who names these characters in Capcom? BSAA Investigations Department. Final report on the Baker incident. The following details the investigation into the biological disaster in Dulvey, Louisiana, also known as the Baker incident. This document is for employees with Class B clearance and above. We have concluded that the Baker incident was caused by accidental contamination from a prototype bioweapon known as Evelyn. The residents of the Baker household were contaminated by a mold-like pathogen, mutamycet, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Evelyn was capable of rapidly producing the mold, and it enabled her to control those infected both mentally and physically. The Baker family were not the only victims. Evelyn manipulated the Bakers into kidnapping dozens of people. These victims were infected and mutated into monstrous creatures called molded. Evelyn was originally created in a Munich research facility by the international crime syndicate, the Connections. BSAA dispatched a team to destroy Evelyn. The mission, however, was not successful, and Evelyn escaped. Evelyn was then transferred to America by the Connections via ship, along with her caretaker, Mia Winters. However, Evelyn managed to escape during transport. She murdered most of the ship's crew and destroyed the ship. We believe she then abandoned the vessel that had washed up in the bay near the Baker residence. The aforementioned operation to eliminate Evelyn was BSAA's failing. We cannot deny that as it resulted in Evelyn infecting innocent civilians, BSAA will have to take responsibility should these events ever come to light. As such, we advise a cover story is fed to the media, and BSAA's involvement is kept quiet. End of report. Just want to say that Chris Redfield is a captain of the BSAA. Oh God, there's Evelyn in the background. She almost gave me a heart attack. E-Series, Mutamycet Analysis Report. Biological Analysis Report on the E-Series Mutamycet, henceforth referred to as Mutamycet, recovered from the Baker residence. The Mutamycet has similar characteristics to black mold and has incredibly high reproductive properties. It acts like a parasite, infecting the cells and rewriting the DNA of its host. Furthermore, when it combines with other bacteria, it creates its own muscle tissue, brain, and nervous system. As such, an organism infected with the Mutamycet transforms into a type of undead monster. End of report. Bioweapon Report File. A human biological weapon constructed through the implantation of Mutamycet into a human embryo has the ability to infect with a fungal network and control hosts through brainwave signals. Evelyn was driven by a natural instinct to create a family, and the infected victims she controlled were her surrogate family. However, due to an innate defect in her chromosomes, Evelyn's cells reproduced at an alarming rate, causing her to age rapidly, then die. End of report. And this is where things get to a level of ultra excitement for a fan of Resident Evil like myself. Now, I just want to cast your minds back to a few Resident Evil Village theory discussion, speculation, live streams where I discussed how the connections could make an appearance in Resident Evil Village, who the connections are. I also spoke, I'm not going to say any more, but just cast your minds back to all of those live streams where I discussed my theories, my predictions, my speculations to what could happen in Resident Evil Village. Okay. The Connections report. The Connections is a crime syndicate with no base of operations. Their organizational structure is unknown. However, we are aware of their actions on a global level. In recent years, they have been particularly active in Eastern Europe. Most of their activities appear to revolve around the creation and selling of bioweapons. Evelyn was one of their products. The next page, lads. The next page. Damien, you know me, man. You could imagine how excited I was when I read the next page. Okay, here it is. I'll try not to mark out too much because I already read this. You've probably seen the name already. Reliable sources have confirmed that the criminal organization was funded by Brandon Bailey. Bailey is a shrewd man and was one of the right-hand man of Oswell E. Spencer, CEO and President, I can't even read, I'm so excited, of the Umbrella Corporation. Oswell E. fucking Spencer, mentioned officially in Resident Evil fucking Village. Boom. I called it. Here it is. Oswald E. Spencer in Resident Evil fucking Village. Boom. Oh god. I'm so fucking happy. So never mind like me being right. I'm just more happy with the fact that Oswald E. Spencer has some kind of role in this game. He is literally, well, his friend basically established the connections. Okay. Bailey and Spencer became estranged due to differing visions. And Bailey used the connections he made working as a director of the Umbrella Africa Research Center to branch off and fund the crime syndicate. The organization's main goal appears to simply be commercial gain. Further investigations are in progress. Reading that earlier today just blew my mind. I will go back to this page towards the end of the live stream, but I will continue reading the Baker incident report. According to BSAA's top secret documents, the Baker incident, as I know it, was just another statistical blip to be recorded. That fateful night, when the tanker washed up in the bay, Jack took that little girl from the shipwreck and into our home. Then she turned everyone crazy, made us into monsters. BSAA knew this when they manipulated the media and covered the whole thing up. An easy thing to do for an organisation with a direct backing from the United Nations. They couldn't let anyone know it was them who let Evelyn, the cause of all this, escape. I continued to investigate and finally caught wind of Ethan and Mia's location. Where the Winterses are. Why can't we just call it the Winters? Where the Winters are. Wouldn't that make a lot more sense? BSAA Investigations Department. Transcript of interview with Ethan Winters. Audio begins. Shall we begin then? Please state your name and occupation. Ethan Winters. I'm a system engineer. How many times do we have to do this? When are you going to let us go? Our interviews until now have been necessary to conclude if you had any ulterior motive. Now we understand that you were just an innocent victim in this whole incident. So, you want to let us go? Yes, but we have one condition. What's that? We would like you and your wife to remain under our supervision. In exchange, we'll provide you with a new home and a new country. What are you saying? You want us to take on new identities? Wait, a new country? You want us to move to another country? To a lovely country in Eastern Europe, to be precise. Europe? You gotta be kidding me. Why the hell would we? You are both witnesses to what happened. There is a certain criminal organization who is looking for you. We are doing this for your protection. Think of it more like witness protection. But all the way to Europe? Without any say? You can forget everything you experienced here, start a new life. It's better for both of you that way. There's no way we can forget everything that happened. I want to talk to Mia about this. Let me talk to Mia. Audio ends. BSAA Investigations Department transcript of interview with Mia Winters. Audio begins. According to our examinations, you are mostly free of the mold now, Mia. Did you tell him about my past? No. As a sign of appreciation for your cooperation, BSAA has not divulged your involvement with the connections. I just want to return to normal life with Ethan, to forget everything. Audio ends. Ethan and Mia are in Europe. I was ecstatic that I finally had a clue into their whereabouts. However, that was where my investigation hit a brick wall. BSAA's security is tight, and even with some acquaintances helping me out, no one knew the Winters' exact location, which makes sense when you consider an international crime syndicate is after them. 2 years passed and no progress. I ended up working as a rookie reporter for a small newspaper in New Orleans. The Baker incident was but vanished from all people's minds. Then one day a letter arrived in my tiny apartment. It was from none other than Mia Winters herself. Mia's letter. Hey, how are you doing? It's been a while, hasn't it? BSAA won't let us send any emails or letters, but I gave this directly to an employee to give to you, so it should be safe. Our location is still hidden. I've always wanted to tell you how thankful I am. Ethan and I would have died in that house if it hadn't been for you. It must have been hard to fight all alone for so long. So, thank you. I can't tell you where we are, but we're safe and happy. I feel like we're finally settled down into our new life. The house BSAA gave us is huge. I don't know what to do with all. I don't know what to do with it all. Oh, and that reminds me, there's a reason I wanted to write to you. Ethan and I had a baby. I included a picture of her with this letter. I warn you, she is so cute. And there's lovely baby Rose Winters and her mother. And a cake that I would not mind munching into right now, to be honest. We named her Rosemary. isn't such a wonderful name. I hope you can come see her someday. Ethan wants to see you too. I've learned all kinds of local dishes. I'm sure you like them. No need to apply. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Take care of yourself, okay? Sincerely, Mia Winters. A letter from Mia and Ethan out of nowhere. And they have a daughter. I'd almost given up hope finding them. I couldn't hold back the tears. I'm glad the three of them are happy in their new life. Just as I went to close the mailbox, another envelope. It was embossed with the BSAA logo, the sender unknown. It contained the following. BSAA HQ, warning letter to Chris Redfield. Chris, we are growing concerned with your recent activity. According to recent reports, you have taken personal control of the elite unit, the Hound Wolf Squad, without permission. And you've accessed a number of top secret documents, also without permission. What the hell are you doing? What are you and your squad doing in Eastern Europe? Who the fuck is this Miranda that keeps popping up in your correspondence? What's with this investigation into the Winters family? You've been very critical to the BSA since the Baker incident. You might be one of the founding original 11, but I cannot let you continue to run around unchecked. So I will repeat myself. What the hell are you doing? BSAA HQ investigations. Mighty Duck, welcome back to Green Hill Gaming, man. How are you doing? How did your day go? And you're very welcome to the live stream. You've more or less joined at the end of the Baker incident report, but feel free in your own time to rewatch this live stream to read this fantastic Baker incident report. But stay right here, don't go anywhere, because at the end of the live stream I'm going to go back to my favorite page in this report, and believe me, you will love it. But I have not completed the game yet. I'm still at the beginnings of the game, so I have a long way to go yet. This is basically a bonus report that you get access to when you purchase the Digital Deluxe Edition. I'm getting 3 games Monday. Jeez, oh, you're getting the game. I thought you said you're getting 3 games Monday. You're getting the game on Monday. Nice one. Man, you will love it. Believe me, you will love it. There was one thing scribbled on the back on this. It's not over. Ooh, what is going on? What is going on? That is everything I have on the Baker incident. It's purely for my own reference. I don't intend to send it out to the general public. I will continue my investigation. Many have tried to get in my way, slow me down, but I'm doing this for my family. I won't give up. I know that someday I will be able to give Ethan and Mia my thanks directly. At least I pray I can. My name is Zoe Baker, a survivor of this tragedy. A great little ending there to the Baker incident report. It's actually Zoe Baker herself that wrote this report that investigated the events after the Baker incident. The only surviving member of the Baker family. Well, her uncle survived as well, but he wasn't part of the Baker incident. Boom. The Baker incident report. And I really enjoyed reading this. This is my second time reading this today. I loved it. It's been a while since I read a report like this in Resident Evil. I remember I got an official walkthrough for Resident Evil 0 many years ago. And at the end of like every page was like a kind of like a massive report, like basically detailing the like the events like leading up to like everything that happened in Resident Evil up until I think it was like it told the story up until Code Veronica. I think at that stage. So like the beginning of the Umbrella Corporation, all the way to the most recent timeline in the Resident Evil universe back then. But then there was also a separate report. I think it was like an Albert Wesker report, completely separate report of like how Albert Wesker ended up, working for the Umbrella Corporation and what he was up to. And then I didn't have the bonus DVD, but I think on the Dreamcast version of Resident Evil Code Veronica, the original version, basically, there was like a DVD that you could get, and you could watch the Wesker report, which I eventually watched on YouTube, and it was all just describing like everything that happened to Wesker up until that point in the Resident Evil universe. But yeah, so it's been a while since I read a report like this. This just blew my mind in every kind of way. But more than anything else, the page that blew my mind, page 41. I even know the exact page. Oswald E. Spencer. Just when I saw that name, I was like, yes! Fucking yes! I swear to God, and it's documented on my YouTube channel. It is documented on Green Hill Gaming. I did a live stream about this. One of the first predictions I made for Resident Evil Village was that Oswald E. Spencer would play some kind of role in the game. I didn't exactly know what the role would be, but I did say that Oswald E. Spencer would play a role. So it's not about me being right, about my predictions and theories and speculation becoming right. It's just my excitement, just my utmost excitement that Oswald E. Spencer ended up making an appearance in this game. Now, I haven't completed the game yet, so I don't know how big of a role he will play in the game, but he is mentioned. He is basically his buddy, Brandon Bailey, established the Connections, who are the crime syndicate who created Evelyn, who was responsible for the mold and fungus infection of Resident Evil 7. Basically responsible for the entire Baker incident and responsible for everything Ethan and Mia went through. But what's really interesting is I also made a live stream discussing my speculation, predictions and theories for Resident Evil Village, and I said that I was fully convinced that the Connections were actually the organization. The organization is referenced many times in the Resident Evil series, and it is the rival company of the Umbrella Corporation, and their prime objective was basically to steal all of Umbrella's research and to one-up them and to eventually destroy the Umbrella Corporation. Albert Wesker betrayed Umbrella in the very first Resident Evil game to basically sell into this opposing organization. Now, think about it. An organization that completely opposes the Umbrella Corporation. Who established the Umbrella Corporation? Oswald E. Spencer. Who had a falling out with Oswald E. Spencer? His buddy. What did his buddy do? Set up his own company. I am convinced that the Connections are the organization, and I said that in my prediction, theory discussion, whatever you want to call it, live streams. I said to all of you, I was fully convinced that the Connections will end up being the organization, and I believe this is proof. I'll read this page again. I'll go back to the very beginning of the Connection, not the very beginning of the report. Chill. Just these two pages here, 40 and 41. The Connections report. The Connections is a crime syndicate with no base of operations. Their organizational structure is unknown. However, we are aware of their actions on a global level. In recent years, they have been particularly active in Eastern Europe. Most of their activities appear to revolve around the creation and selling of bioweapons. Evelyn was one of their products. Reliable sources have confirmed that the criminal organization was founded by Brandon Bailey. Bailey is a shrewd man and was one of the right-hand man of Oswald Spencer, CEO and president of the Umbrella Corporation. His current status and location unknown. I could take one guess and say that he is in the village. Bailey and Spencer became estranged due to differing visions, and Bailey used the connections he made working as the director of the Umbrella Africa Research Center to branch off and fund the crime syndicate. The organization's main goal appears simply be commercial gain. Further investigations are in progress. Oh, God, you've no idea how excited I was reading those pages. Now, a few more interesting things to take away from this. Oswald E. Spencer's ultimate goal and ambition when he would go on to establish Umbrella Pharmaceuticals was to fund his research, his project, his eugenics project, his project to restart the world. Okay, he had this crazy eugenics vision where he wanted to restart the world. He wanted to fill the world with superhumans, humans with super intellect and superior genetics. He felt that he could achieve this by a virus that he and his buddies discovered in Africa. So he got this virus, and he said the virus would eventually become the progenitor virus, and his intentions, his goal was to, well, first of all, formulate this virus and perfect it into the progenitor virus, and then what he wanted to do, because this progenitor virus could basically create super humans. So his intentions was to achieve his goal of creating this new world, where he wanted to be a god of as well. He would kidnap children from very intellectual parents, intellectual families, and he would inject them with the progenitor virus. That would be known as the Wesker Children Project. The only surviving member of that project is Alex Wesker. She's still alive. So overall, it was a failed project. Only two people survived at the time, Albert Wesker and Alex Wesker. He needed people to be on board with his visions. So he would only inject people who shared his visions of his new world. It was pivotal for Oswald Spencer. The only reason he funded the Umbrella Pharmaceuticals is to make money. So all the money he would make on medicine, all the different healthcare services that Umbrella Pharmaceuticals would be providing, he would put towards his own eugenics project. So clearly, Mr. Bailey didn't share his visions. I'd say Bailey was more interested in the biological weapon side of things. Now, I also want to point out the only reason Umbrella Pharmaceuticals got into biological weapons because they were contacted by the American government to create biological weapons for America, and they would give Umbrella a shit ton of money. Spencer was like, do what you want, I don't care, just give me the fucking money so I can continue to fund my project and be one step further to creating a new world where I'm a god, a world of superhumans, with super intelligence and genes. He didn't care. He didn't care about the bioweapons. He didn't care about any of that. he's wanted to perfect these viruses to achieve his own vision. So I'd say Bailey was more interested in biological weapons, and they had a falling out, and that is why I believe he set up what I believe the organization. I believe the organization is the connection. The organization is the opposing company of Umbrella. And it mentions here that he was the director of Umbrella Africa. Now, Umbrella Africa was established to perfect the progenitor virus, to get to get the virus from there was a plant, I forget the name of it now, but I think it was called a stairway to heaven, or the stairway to the skies, or whatever it was called anyway. And this plant contained the virus that would eventually give birth to the progenitor virus. So that was what was going on in Africa. So I believe that the progenitor virus is going to play a massive role in this game. And I also said, boom, 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 shakalaka, laka, laka. I'm fucking beyond excited, to be honest with you. Anyway, I also said in one of my Resident Evil Village discussions, predictions, theories, speculation, that because of the fact that the ugly, tall vampire lady would have been infected around the time, if not before the time of the establishment of the Umbrella Corporation, because I had already kind of made my mind up that Oswald E. Spencer would play some role in the game, I had come to the conclusion that the progenitor virus would play some role in Village. I felt like that the ugly tall vampire lady and her ugly daughters would have been infected by like the original progenitor virus. Like maybe she already had the progenitor virus before the lads at Umbrella even discovered it. And it appears that could be the case. So very interesting stuff. I have no idea, lads. I have no idea how excited I am. Oswald E. Spencer. And just looking at his name, just seeing the letters OZWELLESPENCER, just seeing it official there is just crazy. I love it. Anyway, I need to calm myself down now and contain my excitement inside, because if I let it out, then the entire live stream will just be me marking over the fact that Oswald Spencer is referenced in Resident Evil Village. So can I move away from inside for things for now? I really love this whole cover up story. Oh my god, it is so cool that they brought this into the game. There was a cover up. The BSAA had a mission to secure Evelyn. They failed, and as a result, Evelyn escaped into the Baker residence, and that caused a lot of deaths because Evelyn was getting the Bakers to kidnap people, bringing them to the house, killing them. Everything that happened, Mia and Ethan. The BSAA took responsibility for that failing. Who is the captain of the BSAA? Well, one of the captains anyway, Chris Redfield. I think that Chris Redfield took that personally. Chris Redfield has been fighting bioterrorism all of his life, and now he's involved in a cover-up. Goes against everything he stands for. The first time that Chris Redfield came face to face with bioterrorism, he also faced a cover-up. He also faced treachery. He found out that there was a cover-up. Everything that was going on in Raccoon City, the bizarre murders that were occurring on the outskirts of Raccoon City, was all down to the Umbrella Corporation. He also found out that STARS, were the captain of STARS, Albert Wesker, was working for the Umbrella Corporation. He was ordered to lure STARS into the mansion, dispose of them, get rid of them, so the mentioned incident could never be revealed to the public. So, like, the fact that Chris is now involved in a cover up, to cover up what really happened in the Baker family estate, it must have broken Chris Redfield. Honestly, he must have been shattered. I still don't exactly know what he's doing and why he set up the Wolf Squad thing, but he's gone rogue. And at the start of this game, you see him shooting up Mia Winters and taking Rose, and he already knew about Miranda. I don't know what's going on, and I can't wait to find out. So let's. Okay, so once again, because this is very interesting for me, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. Chad Middleton, do you want? No, I do not want spoilers, Chad. I swear to God, if you spoil things for me, Chad, I will take that to heart on a personal level, and I will track you down. Right? I will go Chris Redfield on your ass. You'll be in your kitchen, relaxing on a Sunday evening, drinking your lovely coffee, and I swear to God, man, I will fucking snipe the shit out of you. Okay? You want that? Do you want that, Chad? Is it worth it? Ask yourself that. No. Welcome to Green Hill Gaming, Chad. How are you getting on, man? How'd your day go? And I hope you enjoy my live stream. Now, I have already read the Baker incident report, but if you want to hear me reading it from start to finish, you can do that in your own time. But I will certainly be repeating it from scratch. But I do want to focus on the whole BSAA covering up the Baker incident and how that would have had a massive effect on Chris Redfield. So the BSAA Investigations Department final report on the Baker incident. The following details the investigation into the biological disaster in Dudley, Louisiana, also known as the Baker incident. I just got the notification. Good old YouTube with the late notifications. This document is for employees with Class B clearings and above. We have concluded that the Baker incident was caused by accidental contamination from a prototype bioweapon known as Evelyn. The residents of the Baker household were contaminated by a mold-like pathogen, Munomycete. Evelyn was capable of rapidly producing this mold, and it enabled her to control those infected both mentally and physically. The Baker family were not the only victims. Evelyn manipulated the Bakers into kidnapping dozens of people. These victims were infected and mutated into monstrous creatures called molded. Evelyn was originally created in the Munich research facility by the international crime syndicate The Connections, who we know that Oswald E. Spencer's former friend established. And how excited I am once again to know that. Chad, I think Raymond is in charge of the BSAA from Revelations. Chad, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this now. I hope the fuck that you're not one of those people that looked up the spoilers, knows the spoilers, and then comes on here and pretends that you didn't look up the spoilers, and you're all like, I think that Raymond is in charge of the BSAA. When in reality, you fucking read the spoilers to find that out. I swear to God, Chad, if I find out that Raymond is in charge of the BSAA, I will be really pissed. Really pissed. That's all I'm saying. I would be really fucking pissed. Okay? And I mean that now. I don't like spoilers. Chad. Chad. It's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. He says. Chad. Chaddy Chad Chad. Chaddy Chad Chad, huh? Chaddy Chad Chad. So it is a spoiler, and you have looked up the spoilers of Resident Evil Village, and you were like, "Oh, I wonder if Raymond is in charge of the BSAA." And now you're like, "Oh, it's not a spoiler." Chad, I played the entire Resident Evil franchise, yeah, mainline series, spin-offs. Leading up to the release of Village, I was trying to speculate and predict and discuss what could happen in Village, so I was doing a lot of research into the lore. Nowhere, and I mean nowhere, does it state, up until the release of Village, that Raymond is in fucking charge of the BSAA. He worked for the BSAA in Revelations. He was involved in the BSAA, but nowhere did it say that he was in charge of the BSAA. So obviously, you've come along and you've spoiled Village in a way, if that's what you're telling me. Am I correct, Chad? Am I correct in saying that's what you've done? Am I correct that you have looked up spoilers of Resident Evil Village, came across the fact that Raymond is in charge of the BSAA, and now just presumed that that's not a spoiler? Chad, I don't like spoilers. For anyone watching this live stream right now is thinking, Jesus, he's really overreacting. I don't like spoilers. I'm sure there's plenty of nerds out there that would snap my neck if I spoiled Avengers or Star Wars or anything that you like. I don't like spoilers, okay? I don't care how small or how big they are. Chad, I want answers, man. I want answers. Is that a spoiler? Did you just look that up about Raymond? Or are you just presuming? I need to know this shit, like, seriously. Fuck's sake, like. Just tell me. Honestly. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, Chad. I thought you looked up spoilers. It's when you said that it wasn't a spoiler, I thought you were trying to say, like, oh, didn't you know? Didn't you know that Raymond was in charge of the BSAA? I thought that's what you meant, so my apologies, Chad. I'm sorry, genuinely. Okay? I just don't like spoilers, and I just thought that you were spoiling something. So, again, Chad, I apologize. Please forgive me. I just don't like spoilers. I just thought that's what you meant. Like, when you typed "it's not a spoiler," I thought you meant, like, do you know, say now if you told me that Mia Winters used to work for the Connections, that wouldn't be a spoiler because it's confirmed well by now that she was working for the Connections. Like, that wouldn't be a spoiler. But like when you mentioned this whole Raymond thing being in charge of the BSAA and oh, it's not a spoiler, I just thought that it was a spoiler. So Chad, once again, man, I apologize. Sorry. Okay. Now we go back. So the Connections. Okay. BSAA dispatched a team to destroy Evelyn. The mission, however, was not successful and Evelyn escaped. This is really, really interesting here because we didn't know this in Resident Evil Village. We did know that, in Resident Evil 7, we did know that the part in Resident Evil 7 where you are on the ship transporting Evelyn, we do know that the Connections were under attack from opposing organizations, as they said back then. Little did we know that opposing organization was the BSAA trying to basically like attack the connections and retrieve and basically eliminate Evelyn. The BSA dispatched a team to destroy Evelyn. The mission, however, was not successful and Evelyn escaped. So the BSAA failed, and their failure would be massive, and it would have I would presume it would have a massive effect. Chad, are we cool, by the way? Are we cool? Are we okay, Chad? I'm sorry again. I apologize, man. It's just I don't like spoilers. Okay. I am aware now that I may have overreacted. It was a complete misunderstanding on my end. I'm sorry, and I hope we're cool. So they failed, and it was a massive, massive failing. Evelyn was then transferred to America by the connections via ship, along with her caretaker, Mia Winters. However, Evelyn managed to escape during transport. Evelyn is a slippery bitch, isn't she? She murdered most of the ship's crew and destroyed the ship. So life after life being lost as a result of Evelyn escaping because BSA failed in their mission to secure Evelyn. We believe she then abandoned the vessel that had washed up the beer near the Baker residence. The aforementioned operation to eliminate Evelyn was BSAA's failing. We cannot deny, as it resulted in Evelyn's infecting innocent civilians. BSAA will have to take responsibility should these events ever come to light. It says they should take responsibility, but then they go on to cover it up. I wonder, is there somebody involved in that who came along and said, you know what, we're not going to take responsibility, we'll just cover it up. As such, we advise that a cover story is fed to the media and BSAA's involvement is kept quiet. I am just going to say right now that Chris Redfield would not support that. Chris Redfield would want to take responsibility because Chris Redfield spent a lot of time after the Mansion incident to make the Umbrella Corporation responsible for their actions. Even when this new umbrella, blue umbrella, whatever you want to call it, hired the BSAA to investigate the connections and track down Lucas Baker, he was very suspicious of this newly reformed umbrella that was doing good. Chris Redfield is all about responsibility. He wanted Umbrella to pay and to be responsible. He wanted to make sure that Albert Wesker was responsible. There is absolutely no way Chris Redfield would support a cover-up, which is why I believe he has went rogue. I still feel bad. Chad, are we cool, man? Are we cool? It's just... Okay, like, when I saw the comment, I think Raymond is in charge of the BSA. Okay, I will admit, I did react over that comment. I presumed that... Because there are people that will look up spoilers and pretend that they didn't look up spoilers and then like start saying things like, oh, I wonder will that happen? And then it'll happen. Chris is not part of Blue Umbrella now. So we're definitely cool, so Chad, yeah? That confused me as well. Good question, Chad. To my knowledge, this is what happened. Chris Redfield has always worked for the BSAA. But other organizations from time to time will hire or ask for the assistance of the BSAA. And I think that Blue Umbrella were one of those organizations that asked for the assistance of the BSAA. So I think that's the only way to explain that. But yeah, there's no way that Chris Redfield would support a cover-up like this. Just about the E-series of Evelyn. And then the connections. Oh, man. Chad, I don't think you were in the live stream when I was reading this part, but these next two, and I know I read them 3 times already. I apologize. But this is for Chad. This is for you, Chad. Chad, remember all of those Resident Evil Village theory, discussion, speculation, prediction live streams I made. I remember I was talking about the connections, and I was talking about how they could play a part in Village, and how a certain character could make an appearance in Village, and how they could all come together. Remember them? Well, when I saw these 2 pages, because I read this earlier today, I was just beyond excited. We are cool. I didn't spoil it. Thanks, Chad. I honestly feel bad about that. I just, when it comes to like I don't like spoilers in general, but when it comes to Resident Evil, I just go on a completely fucking different level of just rage. So again, man, I apologize, and I'm glad that we're cool. I didn't spoil Mortal Kombat 2021. Okay, these 2 pages, Chad. Have a listen to this. The Connections report. The Connections is a crime syndicate with no base of operations. Their organizational structure is unknown. However, we are aware of their actions on a global level. In recent years, they have been particularly active in Eastern Europe. Most of their activities appear to revolve around the creation and selling of bioweapons. Evelyn was one of their products. So it is confirmed that the Connections have been active in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is the setting of Resident Evil Village. It is where Chris and Ethan and Mia end up in the village and the castle. But the next page, Chad. The next page, Chad. You can imagine how excited I would have been when I read this page. Reliable sources have confirmed that the criminal organization was founded by Brandon Bailey. Bailey is a shrewd man and was one of the right-hand man of Oswell E. Spencer, CEO and president of the Umbrella Corporation. Remember, Chad? I said in my live streams that Oswald E. Spencer would play some kind of role in Village, and he more or less has, because his former buddy Bailey would set up the Connections, who created Evelyn, and the Connections are heavily active in the location of Resident Evil Village. Boom. Bailey, I will tell you, his current status and location are unknown. My guess would be that he is alive and well, and he is going to be in either the village or the castle or somewhere beyond it. Oh man, so hyped. So hyped. Bailey and Spencer became estranged due to differing visions, and Bailey used the Connections. This part is interesting as well, because remember I said to you in one of those live streams, my prediction, discussion, theory, everything else, that I believe that the Connections were actually the organization being the opposing company to Umbrella that would have been like a deduce in the first Resident Evil game. Their prime objective was to basically steal all of Umbrella's data and research, and Albert Wesker bought into that organization at the end of Resident Evil 1, where he gave them the information on Tyrant, the ultimate life form. Bailey is the Duke. Could be, or maybe he's in drag and he's that evil old witch. Who knows? Connections he made working as the director of the Umbrella Africa Research Center, which is where they were researching the progenitor virus, to branch off and fund the crime syndicate. The organization's main goal appears to simply be commercial gain. Further investigations are in progress. I am fully convinced, Chad, the Connections are the organization. Because think of it, right? If these 2 lads had a falling out, right, and Oswald Spencer was like, I'm going to continue my research I'm going to continue my eugenics project. I am going to create a new world of super humans, of super intellect and genes, and I'm going to be a god. And then Bailey was like, right, you're a mad fucking lunatic. I'm going to create biological weapons. They're going to sell them to America, sell it to China, North Korea. I'm going to make a shit ton of fucking money, and you can fuck off and be a psychopath and die. So he obviously, that they had a falling out. So if you have this organization that is opposing Umbrella, then it would make sense that it's founder would be the person that had a falling out with the Umbrella Corporation's CEO and president. Makes sense, doesn't it? So Albert Wesker didn't know about Spencer's connections. That's why he didn't go after them. What do you mean now? Albert Wesker didn't know about Spencer. You mean like he didn't know about the... No, Albert Wesker... See, I believe, anyway, that the connections is the organisation, because that would explain why the organisation was always the opposing company to the Umbrella Corporation. That's always why they would try to steal their research and destroy them, because its founder was opposing Oswald Spencer's beliefs. So it makes sense. So Wesker was always actually trying to buy into the connections. He was always, into the organisation. So he actually became a part of the organisation. That's probably why he didn't do anything to them, because he was working. He was working for them. He was always against Umbrella. I think killing Spencer would have been a final seal. So I'm not going to skip. So Chris Redfield. Chris Redfield would have been a captain of the BSAA, and I feel like when he was asked to cover up the Baker incident, I don't think he would have been on board with that in any shape or form. He would have been completely against it. He would have went against everything he would ever stand for. He is about responsibility. He is about consequence. He is about justice. He's about taking action. He fought against the Umbrella Corporation at the end of Resident Evil 1. He painstakingly had a private investigation into Umbrella's activities, because the RPD were completely controlled by Umbrella, which is why he did this private research. He did everything in his power to take down the Umbrella Corporation, to oppose their conspiracy, to expose their conspiracy, to destroy the Umbrella Corporation. And he would go on to do the same thing to companies like Tricell and bioterrorists across the world. There is no way that he would become the very thing that I know this becomes like a cheesy cliche in comics and everything else, but he's just not a comic. This is Resident Evil. Although there is comics of Resident Evil, but you know what I mean. It's based off a video game, not a comic. He's not just gonna become the one thing that he's always fought against. He would do everything he could to expose what happened, even if he was responsible. Even if he was responsible, he would take responsibility. He would take responsibility, 100%. Maybe what he is doing, maybe he's leading Ethan Winters to the truth. Maybe that's his way of taking responsibility. Maybe he wants Ethan to know that there was a cover-up. And maybe the connections helped in this cover-up. Kind of. And maybe Chris is like, no, nobody. Okay, I can't quite figure out what I'm actually trying to say. I need to think about this now for a second. So there's a cover-up, a complete cover-up. The BSAA worked with Sheriff's Office and the media to cover up what happened. And it's all top secret kind of a thing. Now you would argue surely Chris Redfield could come clean and say this is what happened. Okay, I don't exactly know why, but I put this short and sweet. Maybe what Chris is doing is sacrificing himself, sacrificing his entire life, everything he stands for, to expose the truth. And maybe he's using Ethan Winters to do that. That's what could be going on. Either way, I don't think this man is the kind of man that would stand by and allow for a cover-up, which is why I think he goes rogue, which is what is said in this letter. Do you think that Jill and Barry are still in the BSAA? I would say so. I never know Oh yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, yeah. Now what's interesting is this letter appears in the apartment. It's a bit of a strange one though. Just as I went to close the mailbox, I spotted another envelope. So how did this end up in her apartment? Pretty strange one, really. BSAA HQ. Warning letter to Chris Redfield. So this is a letter that would have been addressed to Chris Redfield. How did it end up in the apartment of Zoe Baker? Really strange one. Chris, we are growing concerned with your recent activity. According to our recent reports, you have taken personal control over the elite unit, the Hound Wolf Squad. Now, I wonder who exactly the Hound Wolf Squad are. Like, without permission, are these connected to the BSA or what? And you have accessed a number of top secret permission. It seems to me this is the Chris Redfield. This is the fucking Chris Redfield, right? That would have stormed into the RPD after the Mansion incident, right into Chief Bryan's office and said, okay, this is what's fucking going on. Umbrella Corporation are behind it. I'm convinced they're still conducting research. They're responsible for all the bizarre deaths in the outskirts of Raccoon City. If we don't take action now, then our city is going to be fucking overrun by zombies. Do something now. Of course, Chief Bryan Irons was taking bribes by Umbrella, and he was all hush-hush about it, so he had no choice. He did his internal investigation. He completely went against his orders from the Raccoon City Police Department, and he fucking relentlessly investigated the Umbrella Corporation to expose what they were doing with the G virus. This is that Chris Redfield. He is going rogue, and he has accessed top secret documents that would have been, like documents about the connections, who they were, like basically like stuff that could, and also the documents that were probably like detailing the cover up of the Baker incident. Who knows what was on those top secret documents? Who knows how corrupt the BSAA are? I mean, if they're happy enough to cover up, a bioterrorism incident, being as they're meant to be the very organizations actually opposing them. And also, remember the ending to Revelations 1. Remember that. The ending to Revelations 1. So, there's that too. So the BSA are not perfect by any means. So who knows what Chris Redfield got access to in those top secret documents? What the hell are you doing? So it's almost like he wants to expose the BSA. It's almost like he wants to take down the BSA. He's obviously gone rogue. He obviously wants to have nothing to do with the BSA. What are you and your squad doing in Eastern Europe? So we do know that the connections are in Eastern Europe. So he went to Eastern Europe to locate the connections. Then again, he could have gone undercover as well. He wouldn't know, because that was one of the theories going around for a while, that this whole badass Chris Redfield is just him going undercover. Who the fuck is this Miranda that keeps popping up in your correspondence? So Miranda could be connected to the connections. What's with the investigation into the Winters family? We've been very critical. You've been very critical to the BSA since the Baker incident. You're not one of the founding original 11, but I cannot let you continue to run around unchecked. So I will repeat myself. What the hell are you doing? And what the hell is he doing? Who knows? It's not over. Oh, and it's definitely not over, because there's a lot more Resident Evil Village to be played. There's a lot more Resident Evil story to be told. I'm hyped to uncover it. So he's definitely on rogue. he's accessing top secret documents from the BSAA. So I'd say once he was told to cover up the Baker incident, I'd say that's when he was like, okay, I don't want to have any part of this organization. And cause I'm thinking back to Revelations 1, and I'm thinking back to, what's his face? Oh, his name is gone out of my head right now. Oh God, I don't know, the original leader of the BSA, his name is just, oh, it'll come to me. Oh, I can't think of it. I can't think of his name. But he, oh God, he actually orchestrated like a kind of a fake terrorist incident to get to the truth, to get Chris and Jill to find out that Lansdale from the FPC were actually involved in the attack on Terra Grigia. That he actually, like, that Morgan Lansdale actually worked with the terrorists. Um, and this guy was the guy in charge of the BSA at the time was trying to get Jill and Chris to. So maybe he's kind of like, maybe Chris is kind of taking a bit of inspiration. Clive O'Brien, thank you, Chad. You're a legend. Nice one. Clive O'Brien, yeah. So Clive O'Brien basically orchestrated a fake resurgence of Veltro terrorists basically that wanted to destroy Terra Grigia, just basically like fill that not floating island, but the solar island with biological weapons, and they did so. But it was actually Morgan Landale who worked with these terrorists, because what he wanted to do is he wanted to make the world aware of bioterrorism, the threat of bioterrorism. So he basically orchestrated that attack with the terrorists to get a response from the public that would be, oh my God, we need the FPC. The FPC basically is like the BSA, but they have more power and control at the time. They're gone now, but they had more power and control at the time. So that's why he did that. Clive learned of this. He always had a suspicion, actually. I think he didn't know for sure, but he had a suspicion that Lansdale was involved in this. So basically, like, Lansdale and the FBC tried to cover up the whole thing, but Clive did everything he could to make sure that the truth that Lansdale hid would be uncovered. I'm feeling that maybe Chris Redfield is kind of reminded of what Clive had to do to get to the truth, and maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he is eaten to the truth of the connections, the truth of the BSA, and the truth of the Baker incident, and making sure that truth gets out there. I could be completely wrong, but it's just something to think about. Nonetheless, like, maybe Chris is sacrificing himself to expose, the cover up, and maybe there's more to the Baker incident that we don't even know. Maybe the whole thing was orchestrated. Maybe the secret meeting between the BSA and the sheriff office is deeper than we think. Maybe there's a much more deeper thing going on. Did he want the government to give the BSA full support? No. The FPC wanted the government to give them full. The FPC, led by Morgan Landale, he wanted to have complete control over everything, over all bioterrorist incidents. So I think there's more to the BSA than we know. I think they could have been involved in a lot more cover-ups. They could have been involved in a lot more shit, and maybe it's so hidden and so out there. I don't know why Chris would get eaten to expose the truth. Like, why couldn't he just do it himself? But maybe there is something that's going to happen in the story in Village where it's revealed that. So I'm going to make this in kind of like an unofficial prediction, an unofficial theory and speculation. I'm going to say it anyway. I feel like Chris Redfield could be doing what he's doing because he wants Eaton to expose the BSAA and to expose maybe there's more of a hidden truth to the Baker incident. I'm thinking maybe he wants to play the part of the bad guy, so Chris will go right to him and kind of like I don't really know exactly, but we will soon find out. So yeah, just the most interesting part of this incident report, the Baker incident report, is of course the revelation, part of the pun, that the connections, the criminal syndicate who created Evelyn, was actually established by one of Oswald E. Spencer's old buddies, because they had opposing views. So Baldwin would go on to found the connections, and just seeing Oswald E. Spencer's name, oh my god, I just got so excited. I'm still excited. The second time reading this, and I'm just so excited. And then the revelation that the BSAA were involved in covering up what actually happened at the Baker family estate, saying that it was a gas leak because of the fact that they take responsibility for what. Well, the funny thing is they don't take responsibility, because if they took responsibility they would be covering up, but they know that it was their fault that Evelyn escaped and infected all these people and killed all these people and resulted in a massive bioterrorism incident. The BSAA know it was them, so they proceeded to cover it up and say it was a toxic gas leak, don't worry about it. And then Chris Redfield going rogue and like stealing top secret documents. It's just it's interesting stuff. Like, it's interesting stuff. And again, I feel like Chris Redfield is trying to get Eaton to expose the truth of the truth of the truth. This is fun. I'm definitely going to read this another time. I mean, in my own time, of course. I'm definitely going to read this again another time. I'm just so hyped. Love this document. Oh, it's just so cool. There's so much in it. And then the revelation at the end of it all, the person who actually conducted this incident was actually Zoe Baker herself, the only surviving member of the Baker family, apart from Jack Baker, but like he wasn't actually involved in what happened at the Baker family estate. Oh my god, man! This is quality. Like, I'm just thinking this probably would have been some kind of a book that you would have gotten, like maybe I know there's a physical edition, like, but this would be like, if this was like 10 years ago, it would definitely be a book. But it's kind of nice to have a digital book too, though, because you can stream it. This is good. And there it is, the Baker Incident Report. It was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I actually thought that it was going to be a recap of what happened in the Baker residence. I did not know that it was going to be this interesting, that I was going to focus on the events after the Baker incident. Can I tell you about a secret unlockable weapon? No, Chad, you just please don't tell me anything about Resident Evil Village. Just please let me play the game. Let me discover these secret unlockables. Let me like determine whether this guy is doing that and this guy could be, just please let me experience the game, Chad. Please. That's all I ask of you. That's all I ask of you. And for anyone else, just let me play the game. Let me find out about a secret unlockable weapon. Okay? Just please. Okay? So this has just been really, really interesting. Again, I read it earlier today. It's my second time reading it. I could read it again, to be honest with you. It's just, I actually have to say, this is probably one of the most enjoyable features of a game that you get with a deluxe edition. I love it. It's far more exciting than screen filter or music that plays when you're saving the game. It was very exciting. I'm just so hyped to get back into the game now. And lads, I promise you, tomorrow night I'll be returning to Resident Evil Village gameplay, part 3 of my gameplay. So stay tuned for that. I just thought it'd be fun to to read out this Baker incident report and to just share my joy that Oswald E. Spencer ended up in Resident Evil Village. I mean, how cool is that? Like, how cool is that? Okay, it's nothing to do with Resident Evil, but it's appearing in thumbnails and live. Chat, it could appear on my fucking living room wall as an apparition. Okay, I don't care where it appears. I don't care about people's thumbnails. I'm not even beyond YouTube anymore. Because I know that YouTube would be full of people playing this game and spoiling the ending with thumbnails. I don't do that. So I just don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know where it's appearing. I don't want to know that other people. Just let me play the game, Chad. Thank you. So that's going to do it for this live stream. Baker incident report. Lads, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I just want to say, I was right. Oswald E. Spencer is in the fucking game. No, that's just a bit of fun. I'm just more happy. I'm just happy with the fact that he is in the game as opposed to me being right. But it is nice to know that I called it 100%. Lads, thank you for watching. I will say good night here from Ireland. Sleep well, and I will see you in the next live stream.